Maycee Barber versus Alexa Grasso takes place this weekend in the co-main event of UFC 258, Usman versus Burns. Yes, that's right, I'll repeat it one more time. The co-main event of a pay-per-view, Maycee Barber versus Alexa Grasso. You've got the number 10 ranked flyweight women's fighter in the world versus the number 15 ranked women's flyweight fighter in the world. As the co-main event of a okay, you get the point. It's the co-main event of a pay-per-view. You know? But it's a great one. I like the fight, actually, and I wouldn't even mind it if it wasn't in the position it was in. It's a great scrap. Maycee Barber can throw hands. She's very tough. She can get through damage. In her last fight of Roxanne Modafferi, she at least showed that she can survive when things go wrong. I mean, she tore her ACL apart pretty badly in that fight. That was very obvious, and it was obvious by the time that she took off afterwards to recover from that injury as well, and she still managed to stay alive against Roxanne Modafferi, have some moments of success in that fight, but eventually Roxanne Modafferi was just able to capitalize on an injured fighter and take over as the fight went on. But Alexa Grasso, also a great fighter, great technical fighter from the strawweight division, now looking to make a run at flyweight. She was impressive in her flyweight debut against Yi Kim, completely outstruck her for 3 rounds of just better range. Not even better range, she had worse range. She had a reach disadvantage, I believe, in that fight against Yi Kim. Managed to strike her down in the first round, second round, third round, kept it going. Straight shots down the pipe, 1-2s all day. Just out-technique Yi Kim over the 3 rounds. I think it was a very good performance. And Yi Kim, although it's not an amazing name to get on your resume, she was coming off a great win against Nadia Kassem, where she KO'd her in the second round. She'd lost to Antonina Shevchenko by close decision, and Antonina Shevchenko is a great fighter. I mean, she just kind of did the same thing that Alexa Grasso did, but Shevchenko had to shoot some takedowns in that fight, get some control time on the ground. I like Alexa Grasso here against Maycee Barber. I believe she was just too technical on the feet, and she will get the job done against Maycee Barber over the 3 rounds by 30-27 unanimous decision. I don't see Maycee Barber being able to take the shots against Alexa Grasso that she has taken against so many other girls and just cruise right through them. Alexa Grasso is very technical. She's got great boxing. She's got more experience than Maycee Barber as well in the fight game, which I think is going to come in very handy here. She's better at boxing overall compared to Maycee Barber. We haven't seen Maycee Barber in too many third rounds where she's not losing. She's got a lot of finishes on her record, and I will look at some of those fights as well, because Maycee Barber, although finishing some of these fighters, has made things very close. Okay? The round in round 1, before she landed the big shot that eventually got the better of Gillian Robertson, that was a very close fight to have on the feet with Gillian Robertson, but she landed the big shot. She's getting the big shots landed. She's got some power for a female flyweight, and she's using that very well. Against JJ Aldridge, Aldridge dropped her in that first round. I know it doesn't say that if you just look at the stats, but when you watch the fights, when you watch back through the fights, which I've done, JJ Aldridge landed great shots in the first round, was outstruck by 6, but she 100%, and I don't know why it's not recorded on UFC stats, dropped Maycee Barber with a straight right hand after a jab. A 1-2 down the pipe, right hand lands on Maycee Barber's chin, puts her on her ass in the first round, and wins JJ Aldridge the round, in my opinion, because of it. JJ Aldridge, not quite the level of striker or fighter, in my opinion, that Alexa Grasso is. I mean, Alexa Grasso was... I know I thought Carla Esparza won, but the fight was close enough to where she was annoyed that she didn't get the victory. Like, it was a very close fight with Carla Esparza. I thought she lost a fight with Carla Esparza, 2-1, but she had a moment where she rocked and hurt Carla Esparza, but didn't quite pull the trigger in that fight. That's something she's going to take on as a learning experience moving forward, I'm sure, to capitalize on those situations a little bit better, especially when she's losing to Carla Esparza. But still, it was a close competitive fight, and that's Carla Esparza. You know, a good fighter in the women's strawweight division. I think this is going to be a case of just 2 different levels of bring-ups into the game of MMA. If you come up in the women's flyweight division, I know that Maycee Barber's had some fights at strawweight, but in the women's flyweight division, they're just not there yet, you know what I mean? And the women's strawweights, we've seen them have success moving up in the division. You saw Cynthia Calvillo, she was not even able to make top 10 in the women's strawweight division, jumped straight up to women's flyweight and beat the number 1 girl in Jessica Eye. Had a close fight with Caitlin Chukagian, who's the number 2 girl, and then Andrade, who's just slipped out of the top 3 at women's strawweight, or maybe wasn't number 3 at women's strawweight, jumped straight in there against number 1 Caitlin Chukagian, beat her easily in the first round. I think there's just a bit of a skill difference between the strawweights and the flyweights, and I think that's going to be in full effect here. Maycee Barber has a long time off. Alexa Grasso's been more active recently. Maycee Barber hasn't fought since January of 2020, and Alexa Grasso was in there in August of 2020, which I think is going to come into effect massively here as well. I just think she's going to be too technical, too crisp on the feet, and outland Maycee Barber for 3 rounds to a 30-27 unanimous decision. I like Maycee Barber. I know they're trying to push her because she's a young girl, but it's not going to go well for her, man. I just see Grasso being too crisp, landing the 1-2 all night, and Maycee Barber walking into it because, again, looking at these other fights against Hannah Cifers, another girl that would not even see rankings at strawweight whatsoever, like Alexa Grasso did, okay? Or have the close fight with Carla Esparza that Alexa Grasso did. Hannah Cifers, in her fight with Maycee Barber, was doing very well, and it was a scrappy barn burner in the opening round. It was a scrappy barn burner. Both girls landed a lot of shots back and forth. Hannah Cifers landing a lot of shots on Maycee Barber. I don't feel like Alexa Grasso is as bad as those other girls that have had great success in the early rounds against Maycee Barber. She doesn't look like she slows down whatsoever. She looks like she's getting better and better every single time we see her. She's got more experience overall than Maycee Barber in the world of MMA. I feel like she's going to get the job done by unanimous decision, and I don't know why they've made this matchup. Surely you would want both of their names in the women's flyweight division moving forwards. We need to generate some interest here. Why would you cancel out 2 birds with 1 stone? I don't understand. I think this is a mistake. Maycee Barber's going to lose, and it's going to be a tough recovery, but the winner of this one is going to be looking at bouts like Joanne Calderwood, Vivian Araújo, those kind of names, number 6, number 7. Maybe they'll do a fight between each other, Calderwood and Araújo, and maybe the winner of this one will get a Cynthia Calvillo coming off a loss, or maybe a Jennifer Maia takes on a Cynthia Calvillo. The flyweight division is going to take some figuring out here, but I do genuinely believe that there's a big fight coming up for the winner of this one, and I reckon it could be like a Joanne Calderwood, because she's not going to get a jump up the rankings right now. It's a little bit of a logjam. She's probably going to have to take on one more girl and then get a jump up the rankings, and she was just on the main card of a McGregor fight, and this one's the co-main event of a pay-per-view. I'll say take advantage of the shit pay-per-views where you've put these girls in positions that they do not belong in, okay, and take advantage of that hype and attraction that they've got from the overall masses watching them in a position that they don't belong in, and try and match them up together on another main card of a pay-per-view and put them again in a position they don't belong in against each other. Joanne Calderwood, winner of this one, makes sense to me. Let's make it happen in the women's flyweight division. Alexa Grasso's got a reach advantage as well, and she was able to do quite well against Yi Yoon Kim, who had a reach advantage over her with the straight shots down the center. And I noticed that Maycee Barber does this quite a bit in her fights. Rears backwards after her shots with her chin wide up in the air. I think that the way that Alexa Grasso follows up her jabs with 2s, she will catch Maycee Barber with those 2s. Maybe miss the jab, and Maycee Barber could fade away and look for that counter hook. But then the 2 down the pipe afterwards is what's going to separate Grasso and Barber in this fight. And Grasso will cruise her way to a decision win. Both are attractive, though, I guess. So that's a consolation prize for Maycee Barber somewhat. But the loser of this one's going to be in a tricky situation. And I'd say maybe wager them into a bout with Andrea Lee. Loser goes home situation. She's coming off a loss right now. Maybe even a Roxanne Modafferi rematch. I mean, as much as I'd like for Roxanne Modafferi never to be seen throwing punches or striking. I mixed those 2 words together just then. Never to be seen throwing punches or striking ever again. I never want to see Roxanne Modafferi do either of those things. However, if it's to get that loss off of Maycee Barber's record after she loses this one in a rematch, I'm down to see that one happen again, I guess, but I genuinely believe that Alexa Grasso's got this one in the bag. I know the odds have Alexa Grasso as a slight favourite right now, but I would wait on making a prediction. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my Burns prediction now, because a lot of people are going to put money on Burns, in my opinion, and I'm going to wait to put my Alexa Grasso prediction down and probably include her in some kind of parlay, because I think there's going to be a lot of late American fan money going in on Maycee Barber as an underdog, and I think they've maybe put Maycee Barber as an underdog to attract someone to think, I can make money, because a lot of people that do casual betting, that bet on, just bet on things like not really focusing on stuff. They just see underdog and think, money worth it. And favourite as in, money not worth it, but secure. They don't really look at the scale of the underdog or the favourite. So just the fact that she's a slight underdog will get money on her. And I think we could see this going into evens come the night of the fight, especially with the amount of Maycee Barber going to be in the embedded episodes and get a lot of fan interest, I'm sure. So I'm going to wait to bet on Grasso, and you should do the same, in my opinion. But we'll see. I think Grasso's got this one in the bag, man. Why would they do this? Grasso's got good kicks, but boxing is her main attribute that she's pretty good with. I mean, Maycee Barber's okay, though. She's got good hands. She's got good power. And maybe the power is going to be too much for Alexa Grasso, and Maycee Barber could storm through the shots, the 1-2s, smother Alexa Grasso as the rounds go on. I think she's going to weigh a little bit more than Alexa Grasso in there, even though Alexa Grasso's the same height as her, apparently, according to the stats. But how can you trust the stats? They still have Jairzinho Rozenstruik at 6'4", when I've seen the Ngannou Rozenstruik weigh in, and Ngannou's 6'4", so he's clearly 5'11". But they still have him at 6'4", so you can't really trust him, but I believe that they're the same height. I've looked at some weigh-ins. They seem around the same height, but Maycee Barber's going to carry a little bit more weight in there. I'd like to see her try and mix in some grappling, but again, against Carla Esparza, Alexa Grasso's decently okay at grappling, and it's just whether or not you compare a win over Melinda Fabian in a razor-close split decision on the... No, this is a complete wrong... Sorry, this is Yeon Kim. Anyway, whether you compare a win over Hannah Cyphers as much as you do and rate it as much as you do a win over Karolina Kowalkiewicz, a girl who went 5 rounds with Joanna Jędrzejczyk and rocked her in one of those rounds as well. Do you compare a win over Jamie Colleen to a win over Randa Marcos? Not the best example, don't get me wrong, but this was earlier in Marcos' career, before she evened out that BMF record of hers right now. But again, different levels of competition, in my opinion. 4 different levels of competition. Like, Randa Marcos had a scrappy fight with Claudia Gadelha. That was quite interesting to watch. She had some good moments there. She wasn't terrible back then, and Grasso got a clean win over her. Landed so many strikes, got taken down a couple of times, but overall just landed too many on the feet every single round. And then you look at other wins, like a close loss to Carla Esparza compared to a loss to Roxanne Modafferi. You know? Even Yeon Kim. I think that's probably better than any win Maycee Barber has at flyweight right now. So I'll see how this one goes, but I'm definitely going to go with Grasso by decision. I think there's money on it being by decision as well, because maybe Maycee Barber showed that she's hard to finish, because someone else would have been finished against Roxanne Modafferi on one leg. Like, she's landing a lot of total strikes on her, but Maycee Barber always looking for a way to survive. So I don't see Maycee Barber being finished here, so I would put my money and wait first, of course. I'd wait, then put my money on Alexa Grasso by decision. I think that's the best way to make money here in this fight. I just don't see Maycee Barber doing too well, because even before she got the injury in the first round, it's not like she was just schooling Roxanne Modafferi on the feet, you know? And Roxanne Modafferi is embarrassing to watch. Embarrassing to watch on the feet. Like, Roxanne Modafferi outlanded her 11-5 on significant strikes in the first round. It was not this one-sided affair before the knee injury where, so, Maycee Barber clearly on another level, but, the knee. It was like, the knee injury happened, and that led to more losing, but she wasn't winning in the first place. But, you know, Maycee Barber's got some hype behind her, I'm sure. She is the future, as her nickname suggests, and I hope that she is the future, because we need some young blood in this women's flyweight division. But I think she's going to have to change that nickname to the past after this one, boys. Alexa Grasso gets it done. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Goodbye. I'll see you later. Toodle pip.